Guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. I got a doozy. Hi, George. Hi, Cloud. Hi, Kelly. Okay, listen, guys. I know you all know this, but in case you ever forget, for the love of God, get a lawyer. It doesn't matter if you got a parking ticket. Get a lawyer. Just get a lawyer. Eat grass if you have to pay for the lawyer. Get a lawyer. Don't do this. So, when people say, if you go pro se, that trained lawyer is going to chew you up and spit you out, this is what happens. This right here is what happens when a trained lawyer meets a pro se. it's it's a bloodbath, guys. It's horrible. So I got to give you a little bit of the backstory. Okay, so this is in Wisconsin. And I can't describe to you how difficult it is to get one of these feeds in Wisconsin because there's like hundreds of links. And there's no directory or anything that makes it easy. There's hundreds of links. And the only way to know if a court case is going on is to click each one individually. And like it takes a long time because you have to go out and go back in and go out and go back in. And it takes a while. And courts, they start at like 8 a.m. Well, by the time you're clicking through these hundreds of links, it's 8:10, it's 8:15. You can't get to the beginning of a case unless by magic you click one link at 8 a.m. that has one court case. And a very small percentage of these links do live courts anymore. They all went back to in person. So finding a court case in Wisconsin is it's like stupid to even try. It's just stupid because you could get court other places. But I'm stupid. I'm stupid. I just tried and I found this divorce case. And it's been happening for the last 2 days. So I got it. And I can't see chat right now because I have a bunch of things pulled up. But I'll be back in chat in a minute. So if you ask me anything, I didn't see it. So the backstory. This is the case from Wisconsin. So it started in 2022. They wanted to get a divorce. Now you'll hear from the testimony that I think they're divorced, but they're still going through the divorce because it's a contested divorce case. So I think they're divorced. I think, and now they're just still trying to divvy up assets because they own a company or she owns a company or they own a company. Listen, I don't know. So I'm just going to go through this real quick. In 2022, they filed for this divorce, and then they tried to have hearings and stuff. There's a child involved, or there's children involved. We don't hear anything about the children. So whatever happened with the children happened 2 years ago, and there was a guardian ad litem that stepped in, and that attorney, and then Attorney Murray is the wife's attorney. Now in 2022, there was the dad had an attorney. The husband had an attorney right here, I think. Yes. So that's one of them. And he had another attorney. He had two attorneys at the same time. That was co-counsel. Well, he didn't pay them, so they withdrew. And then he got another attorney. See, they withdrew and attorney's fees. They withdrew. So then he got another attorney in 2022. Well, then he didn't pay them. So guess what? They withdrew. So they had some hearings. So here's one hearing, and that was in January of 2023. They was just talking about the kids, and they started talking about the assets and stuff in the divorce. And then in February, there was another hearing, and everybody showed up to these hearings. And then in March last year, they had another hearing, And dad got 2 hours every Tuesday, Saturdays for 8 hours for the kids. I think that's the last, or kid, I don't know. It's a little fuzzy. I think that's the last we hear about it. This one sentence got my attention, but and I still don't know what it means. Joint custody with impasse authority to MO on all issues. I don't know anywhere where MO is defined. I don't know who MO is. There's nobody with those two initials. Even the guardian ad litem doesn't have those initials. I don't know who MO is. Um, I think mom had the kids. I don't think they took the kids from mom. Anyway, I don't know what happened to the kids, but it doesn't matter because that's not what we're here for. We don't hear about the kids anymore. So then they had another hearing in October. Everybody showed up. And then the trial was set for January 2024. Okay? So then they had a status conference in November, and he didn't show up. He doesn't have attorneys anymore because he owed them money, and the guardian ad litem is asking for him to pay her. He hasn't paid her. Plus, here's or another 1,500. So that's what happened at that hearing. And then in November, they had another hearing. Everybody showed up. And then in January, they had another hearing. This was supposed to be when they had the court, but they didn't. So final pretrial was March 11th. So then on the 19th we have where we start our video. And I'm not going to go up any further because well, I will. Hold on. I'm just going to stop it here. And then we'll come back to that. All right, now I can see chat again. So I was not able to start this at exactly when the court started on the 19th, because on the 19th was the day I was like, hey, let's go through all these Wisconsin links and see if I can find a court. And I did, but the court had already started. And that's okay, guys. Trust me. It's okay. All right, here we go.
I have both of the parties again. I have Attorney Murray still. We're all by Zoom video. I reconfirmed that everyone can see and hear me. And we're going to get going again with Mr. Bernardin's adverse examination. Whenever you're ready, Attorney Murray, you can pick up where we left off.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. I am going to go back to the exhibit we were working with, exactly where we left off. All right, so we had just finished talking about Red Lobster employment. Mr. Bernardin, so you were providing testimony that when you answered Darden Restaurant Assistant Manager, that wasn't accurate, that you were a manager of the different departments, not the general manager, but the manager of several of the like beverage, client services, culinary. Is that correct?
Yeah, but I've been out of restaurants for 15 years now.
And when I commented about the 60,000 annually, you said that was a typo. I'm not sure that you said what the proper answer should be. What was the highest pay you had while you were working at Red Lobster?
It was 50,000.
And then you testified that you thought that you were progressing through your current employer. And I wrote down that you said that you expect that they could be offering up to 50,000 and that you're currently making about 40,000. Is that correct?
Not exactly, but they said that I could, continue to increase past where I'm at.
So you're saying if I asked to read back the transcript, you did not say up to 50,000?
I don't know if you'd read back the transcript if that's what it would say or not. I just don't recall exactly what I said, but I know what they said to me, and they said that I could continue to increase, but people just, they just gave me 3 increases in 3 months. The expectation of me increasing any more than where I'm at right now is unrealistic. So they could just be floating my boat. You know what I mean?
So if 15 years ago you were able to make $50,000 working as a manager of a department at Red Lobster, why have you not applied at Red Lobster?
Because I have no interest in being in the restaurant industry. I was in it for a long time and I went out of it into lawn care, and now I'm into tire sales.
You're in what?
Tire sales.
I thought that you work as a receptionist.
Yeah, at a tire store.
And so have you checked to see if your skills as a receptionist could earn you income greater than 40,000 with another employer?
I just started working there and I see a lot of great potential. I hear that they're going to be bought out by a big corporation. So who knows what will happen with the future. I don't see a glass ceiling. I see room for growth. So I'm not going to leave just because somebody else might offer a better buck.
I just want to be clear. I am allowed to argue that you have an earning capacity to earn more than you're currently earning. I'm giving you an opportunity to testify about whether or not you've attempted to obtain earnings that would be more than 40,000.
I asked them to pay me as much as they feel that I'm worth. And I'm working my hardest to make them feel like I'm worthwhile. So I can't predict the future that they're going to give me a raise, but gosh, it'd be nice. Because yeah, I have made better money in the past, and the cost of living is worth nothing these days. So I'm still working more than a full-time job. And just because you've destroyed my first career doesn't mean that I can't rebound into a different industry.
What experience do you have working in tire sales?
I used to work at Goodyear many years ago.
How long ago would that have been?
Just out of high school, I worked at Goodyear for a year.
So you worked for 1 year, how many years ago?
20 years ago.
And how long ago was it when you were making 50,000 and not the 60,000, which is what you said was the right answer in your discovery?
15 years since I've been able to make that kind of money, as shows my social security statement.
So your testimony earlier was that you worked there from 2006 to 2012. Are you asking to change that answer now?
Do you have my copy of my resume on file? I think you should have there.
No, I'm asking you a question. You already answered a question under oath. Excuse me, indicating that you worked at Red Lobster from 2006 to 2012, and that this was a typo. You didn't make 60,000, you made 50,000. Are you asking to change that answer now?
I don't know the exact dates that I worked there. And all of the records that I just provided you just the other day show that it's a typo, because I never made that there. During those dates, I made 50,000. And that was 15 years ago. So just because
sir, what
I
is
was able
12
to make
plus
that then
15?
doesn't mean I'm able to make that now. I mean, the amount of mental agony that
27.
you've put me through over the last 2 years, how am I able to perform that kind of job?
So as to the work that you were doing with lawn care, would you agree that lawns in Florida also need care?
No, their lawns don't grow here. Some people cut them 2 times a year. It's pathetic.
Do they have other lawn vegetation that needs to be cared for?
No. I'm out of the lawn care industry and now I'm back to tires like I was many years ago. You can feel free to contact my employer and he'll verify that, you know,
I
everything
don't
that I
believe you ever answered my question about why you did not apply for work between the time you arrived at Florida and the time you got the one job you said you applied for in December.
because I was planning to come home. But then once I couldn't come home, then I needed to figure something else out.
The question I asked after asking about your prior employer was all applications for credit. When is the last time you attempted to gain credit?
I do not know. Been 2 years probably or more.
So your testimony is that you've not,
I'm just trying to get a checking account.
your testimony is that you've not applied for any credit since the divorce was filed?
No.
Do you agree that on your Facebook, you posted that it's easier to get an account for a business than a personal account?
Yeah, I think I said that. I still
Have you
haven't been able to
attempted-
get that figured out yet though for the poetry thing.
Have you attempted to apply for an account for a business?
Not yet. I want to get it worked out though, but I just have a bunch of snags in the way, like the roadblock.
In interrogatory 20, I asked you to list any payments that you made to support the children, the amount of the payment, and to whom the payment was made. And you did not answer that other than to say Dane County Child Services has the records. When did you make your first payment of child support?
It came out of my first paycheck,
And when would that have been?
December. You know, for what it's worth, the poetry website could generate, you know, millions of dollars. I just can't get a checking account to link it to. So if it's money that you're so concerned about, I'd just really like help getting a checking account. Then I can actually, you know, have self-employment with poetry again instead of working at a tire shop.
Are you planning on running for president of the United States again?
I would vote for you for president of the United States. I think that you're doing an amazing job and everybody deserves a fair shot.
All right. We've already talked about the answers to 22 earlier today, so I'm going to continue. We talked previously about the repossession of the vehicles. What, if any, efforts did you undertake to stop the repossession of the truck that has already been repossessed?
I didn't have any access to anything that I needed from the office to be able to help. Shannon had everything in the office.
What is it that you would have
I couldn't do
needed?
anything from here. I didn't have any of the accounts. I didn't have any of the information. I didn't have access to the checking accounts to even pay it. or any ability from down here to make the payment towards it. There was no ability at all. So how could I make any effort when there's no ability? Like there's no financial ability. Shannon may be living high off the hog up there, but she's got all the money.
So you've been working since December. Have you made any efforts to make a payment on your truck since December?
I'm still trying to get a checking account. That's going to be the first place that I can send off a payment to. But there's no UW credit union. So I can't just walk into the branch.
So
It was the same problem I had with US Cellular.
Yeah, you've been resourceful enough to find a place to cash your checks, correct?
A check cashing store, yeah. Walmart cashes checks too.
Pardon, and what else?
Walmart cashes checks too.
Right, and they also wire money, correct?
I guess so, maybe, probably. I don't know, I've never done a wire money deal.
Why didn't you wire money to make a payment on your vehicle?
Well, there's nobody asking for it. So I didn't even know that the payments weren't getting made. Shannon denied me access to all the money, so how would I make any payments?
What efforts have you made to contact your creditor?
I didn't know that I needed to contact them. I didn't contact them.
You heard our expert testify that you made a backup of everything on the hard drive. Do you agree that you did that?
Yeah, I backed it up for you and I backed it up for me.
Okay. So in fact, you do have the bank statements. You do have the statements for payments due on the truck, correct?
Previous statements that we've made? Yeah, on the computer? Okay, yeah.
And so the statements regarding that truck would have
plugged in the computer. I don't have a monitor. I mean, I have the computer.
And those statements would include the name, address, and other contact information for the creditor for your truck, correct?
Again, I had no ability and no money to pay it. So if you don't have money to pay your bill, you just can't pay the bill.
So the $750 that you're making per week at a place of work that is only 1 mile away, where are you spending that $3,000 or so a month when you don't have rent?
I told you I've got a little bit saved, but you know.
No, you really haven't. How much do you have saved?
No, we did. I said there was a couple grand and I've just only started working, but I haven't sent off anything on this truck because this truck might only make it another day or so. It's in rough shape. So I don't have the money necessarily to put into it. If when I call them, what they're going to say is they're going to say that they want payment in full on the loan. Well, I don't have payment in full on the loan for them. So no, I haven't called them. I was just happy to get a phone back.
So you don't know what they would say because you haven't contacted them. Fair?
Right. I have not contacted them.
Okay. List any debts that you've made payments on since you left Wisconsin.
You mean before or after she took away my access to the checking account and he told her to dissolve the business?
Mr. Bernardin, I think it's completely irrelevant because you can contact your creditors. So my question is, what creditors have you paid?
Is Shannon liable for this truck that's here? For this $4,000 loan? It's a personal loan. It's not in her name.
Mr. Bernardin, we've already talked a few times about trying to actually answer the question and not get argumentative, and it's going to really help me actually hear the facts today.
I agree.
What payments, if any, have you made on any debts that are owed by you or Shannon individually or through Mad City?
None. I don't have access to the checking account or the business.
With regards to interrogatory 25, it asks, name all persons or entities to which you currently owe a debt. And I asked for the name of the person, the original amount owed, when the debt was incurred, why the debt was incurred, payments that were made, and the amount currently owed. Your answer was that you borrowed $40,000 from your dad. And then it says no personal purpose for investment in a Robinhood account, since Shannon would not give me a penny to invest in the stock market. Unfortunately, I still owe my father $21,000 since Shannon reneged on agreement to pay this debt from Mad City Lawn and Snow. So, first of all, is your answer here that your dad is the only person that you owe money to?
No, but we owe money on our house. I mean, it's listed in our financial statement.
You did not include it in your answer, did you?
Include like the entire FDS? Or?
Well, I asked for the name of a person, business, or entity that you owed money to, and the only person you listed was your dad, correct?
Okay, I didn't say name every person in every business.
It actually does. It says name all persons.
Oh, that's it right here, A. With an A, it says name of the person. Okay.
The question is, name all persons, business, or entities to which you currently owe a debt, stating for each of them, their name, the amount of the debt, and all these subsections.
Apparently, like you said, Shannon has been borrowing money from her mom for years. So I don't know all of the debts that I'm liable for. Because she hasn't even
I'm going
told
to
me.
ask for acknowledgement that I am dealing with a non-responsive witness.
Well, you are, and I already considered an adverse examination.
All right, I'll get on it. With regard to Robinhood account, you opened an account with Robinhood, correct?
We together, yes. Shannon and I together do, yeah.
What evidence do you have to support that Shannon had any involvement with Robinhood account?
Shannon and I shared everything together with our bills. She literally sat on my lap. Once a month, we paid all our bills. That's how it worked. I can barely even see the screen.
When I asked you for information about the Robinhood account, you provided nothing, correct?
You have all the passwords for that. There was only one statement. There was very little transacting. It was like for 1 month. And that was on the desktop there. And I mailed it to your office as well. And you also have the password and full access to that account where you can just look at it. You can see very little money in, very little money out, but we made money.
How much money do you think? How much money do you think you made?
We ended up having a 1099. I think we ended up making like $10,000. And
how much money
in and out of Shannon's account?
I'm sorry, it went where?
Shannon's account. Our Mad City account, one only account that we have. And this was years ago. This was, I don't know, in 2017, 2018.
How much money did you deposit into the Robinhood account?
I don't know. I'd have to look at the Robinhood account, but it was like we put in like $5,000 or something like that, and then ended up making 10 grand on that. So we took back out 15. That's how I recall it. I recall investing only just a few grand, making 10 grand, and then getting out of it. But we almost made a whole bunch of money, which would have been cool. But we ended up not losing anything, but we ended up making anything. But there was a 1099 that year on our taxes, which you have the taxes. I think we made $10,000 profit from that.
And so your testimony is that you invested $5,000.
Yeah, that's how I recall it.
Where did you get that money?
We jointly invested it from ourselves. We buy and sell old lawnmowers. So like an old lawnmower, we'd have 10 lawnmowers. Maybe if we sell a lawnmower that's already been worked off the depreciation chart.
So your testimony is that you bought or sold a lawnmower to invest $5,000 into the Robinhood account?
Not me, but we, yeah. We would always do things like that. We sold 30 trucks during our marriage.
You sold it or Mad City sold it?
The company bought and sold at least 30 pickup trucks during the life of it.
I had $51 requests to admit. To try and narrow the issues for today. Do you agree that for each one of those, well, I see 47, you said yes. But for the rest of the responses, you said no, or you didn't know.
Sounds about right.
Okay, let's take a look at 47. I said, admit that you spent thousands of marital dollars on a video in which you state you are running as a write-in candidate for president of the United States against Donald Trump and Joe Biden. You said yes. At the time, my Robinhood stock account was doing well with the money that I borrowed from my father. You went on to say, so I spent some of it to run as a write-in candidate because I believed then and am now more convinced than ever that a crazy Indian like me would be a better president than either Trump or Biden. Unfortunately, when the pandemic hit and Trump lost, the stock market declined and I convinced Shannon to pay back my father.
Sounds about
Where
the
did
same
you get the
thing.
funds for your Robinhood account? Was that the money that you and Shannon got from selling lawnmowers, or was it from money from your dad?
We were generating $250,000 a year in sales, gross sales. So there was a lot of money flowing in and out of that company for many, many years. You could see it right on the taxes. So $1,000 here or $1,000 there was not a lot of money to a company that's flowing $30,000 around every month, buying fertilizer, getting dirt, having a new truck, renting this or that. I mean, that was not a lot of money.
What was 30,000 was not a lot of money?
Well, we made $1 million in 4 years on the taxes that you have in front of you. There's 4 years of taxes there. We were very poor at managing our business. There's no lie about that, but that's why we're here now.
Your Honor, perhaps this is a good time for us to switch to Mr. Rodriguez if he's in the waiting room.
Let me look.
At a few points during these hearings, they put sensitive information up on the screen. So I have to blur that out. So it's annoying, but it's better that way. And I edited. I cut some out that to make it
He
shorter.
is in the waiting room. All right, could I get you to end your screen share and I'll let him in?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Rodriguez. Are you able to unmute for me? This is Judge Frost.
Yes, I am.
We have heard a little bit about Robinhood Securities. So what does this entry signify to you?
Yeah, just on its face, this is showing that Robinhood Securities LLC, they're the reporting entity. So this is telling me that they have an account or had an account with Robinhood versus, like I used my example of Charles Schwab, and that they acquired various, I don't know whether they were acquiring stocks or bonds, but they're acquiring various assets throughout the year, or even prior to that, I suppose, since it's not listed, but there would be several different investments over time. And we did see that, so I'm sure we'll get to that. And that they were all sold on 12/31 of 21 as one sale. At least that's how this is reflecting it. And the total proceeds that needed to be reported was $183,000. It's reporting that the cost basis, so they put in $170,000 into stocks and bonds, let's say, and they sold it for $183,000, and it resulted in, it would have been approximately, I don't know, $13,000 gain, but it looks like there was a small amount for an adjustment of $2,500. You see the 2,573, and I don't recall what code W is, but it's increasing. I believe it's increasing. Yeah, it's increasing the gain.
Yeah. To take it up to a $15,000, $106 gain.
Correct.
So Mr. Bernardin testified. Give me just a second. That he deposited $5,000 into this account.
Okay.
He testified that he deposited, first of all, he said that it was money that he and Shannon had from selling lawnmowers, and that they had $5,000 of cash. In his discovery responses, he said that he got money from his dad. But in his testimony today, he said that they made something like $10,000. They ended up taking out $15,000, and that they got a 1099 for $10,000. Does any of that bear out as accurate as compared to what's reported here on this form?
That would be a qualified no. And I'm qualifying it because we did see, and I don't recall, I think there were a couple of tranches of $5,000 being put in, and we'll get to that later, I'm sure. But the reason why it's no is because this is total proceeds of $183,000. The cost basis, they would have had to have put in $170,000 worth of, let's say, cash or stocks that would have been transferred maybe from another custodial account, but that's their cost basis. They have $170,000 into it. So a couple $5,000 costs are not going to.
Isn't the 1099 listed there? It's complete.
Mr. Bernardin, if you want to talk to yourself, you need to mute your computer. You can make whatever comments and notes you want, but you can't keep interrupting unless you have an objection.
Who made $183,000, because I never knew anything about it until this very moment.
Well then, sir,
you never had $183,000.
No, sir, just stop. You have to figure that out. You can write down questions that you'll ask when it's your turn. You cannot talk and interrupt when it's not your turn to question unless you're making an objection.
They have all the bank statements.
All right, I muted Mr. Bernardin. If you need to make an objection, you're going to have to unmute yourself.
And so this has a cash value for Charlie of about $1,000, but it's sort of nominal in the big picture. Can we say that? But
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, none of the amounts are material that I recall.
All right, and then let's go back to your.
How does he know anything about my insurance? Why isn't the insurance guy talking about the insurance?
Mr. Bernadette, if you wanted to call a witness, you were entitled to. This is my witness, and these are the documents he reviewed.
I'm going to treat that as an objection to foundation, but he did testify they were documents he was presented. And he's talking about what the documents stated. So I guess you can ask follow-up, Mr. Bernadette, if you think they're not accurate documents or something like that. But
Yeah, we don't have any of those policies anymore. I'll follow up.
I'll overrule the objection at this point.
Thank you. So we're on page 45 of your 45-page report. This appears to be something other than a QuickBooks report. Is this something your team created?
Yes, that's correct. This is our work product. And this was put together by looking at the bank account. Okay, so we could see these monies going out of their checking account. So, for example, on January 8th of 2021, we can see $5,000, going out to Robinhood for, let's say, investment in stocks or bonds. And again, you see it on January 12th. You'll see these in the bank statement. The money is going to Robinhood. And then likewise, that other column is the money from Robinhood coming back in from it. So we could see a total of $32,000 being invested in the Robinhood investments. And we see a backflow here, like on the 24th of February of 21. They received 36,000 back. And then again, in March 31st, that last one of 2021, they received 9,000 back. So what this is meant to simply do is show how much did we put in 32,000. We got back 45,000. So you can see the other monies, so that it nets to a $13,000, almost $14,000 of net cash. So that's pretty close to that 13,000 that was being reflected, if you recall, on the capital gains schedule that you were just showing from the IRS, and then it was adjusted. Remember the $2,000 adjustment to get up to the $15,000 gain. So that's what they had back for proceeds. On a net basis, on a cash basis, by looking at the bank accounts. But the proceeds that are listed was 183,000. Well, you can see, looking at that second column, money from Robinhood, that difference didn't come back in. It doesn't add up to 183,000. So the difference is $169,000 are unaccounted for. We could not see that money coming back in anywhere. And to make matters worse, we requested the Robinhood statements, and we never received them. And I think it was multiple requests. So I don't know if that money is still at Robinhood or if it was transferred from Robinhood to another bank account that we're not aware of. We just don't know. It's unaccounted for.
Given that the numbers were showing 1.5 million or 800,000, those were big numbers. So on the first glimpse, it looked like it was worth digging in, right?
That is correct.
At some point, we had conversations about how much are we going to throw at this when we're not actually finding money anywhere. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, that's a fair statement. And as a result, that's why this report is very short. Usually my reports will be much longer,
Right.
But it's all based on how much information we receive.
Oh. And so that's sort of your conclusion is you'd love to give a more complete report, but because we weren't provided the information we requested, this was sort of where you had to end it unless we were going to pony up a lot more money and really dig in with sanctions or whatnot from the court to get the information. Fair enough?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, then that takes us back to the exhibits, and we already went through all of those. So I guess at the end of the day, to a degree of professional certainty for forensics experts such as yourself, what do you tell the court about what these folks do or don't have, or what has been provided or what's been deleted? You know, can you offer your opinion about whether people are being transparent or nefarious with the accounting and
Can I
reports of
cross-examine
what does
before
or doesn't exist?
conclusion?
Mr. Burnett, I couldn't hear you.
Can I cross-examine before she asks for his conclusion?
No, she gets to ask that first, and then you can
Okay.
cross-examine him.
Basically, after going through this, all of the information and trying to gather, collect, and report what our findings were, there's so many gaps in the information that we were provided, and we've asked for it numerous times. It's as though I feel as though information was withheld from us, and not only withheld from us, but it was quite an exercise. I think I recall it took numerous times to actually get in and get the QuickBooks files because passwords were being changed on Shannon many times. So rather than being transparent and providing the information needed to effectuate a efficient investigation and reporting to council, we were actually hindered. And then when we are provided information, it's incomplete. It raises even more questions. And then once we got the computer imaged and digital intelligence went through it, to me, it's spoliation. So I don't know why things would have been deleted, removed, concealed. There were other invoices too. It's in the report that there were numerous invoices that were prepared that we found on the computer, that were listed that were deleted, yet we could not locate them in the accounting system. So, it appeared to me that it's obstructionist and it's concealing certain transactions. I don't know whether he was generating invoices outside of the accounting system so that we couldn't see what the actual sales were.
Objection,
Usually
speculation.
what we have in some of our cases is that where there's shareholder disputes, you've got two people running a business, or here we've got Shannon and Gabe running a business. If people get upset, they try to steal customers from each other, that type of thing. And they'll sometimes go off and set up a new company and divert business to the new company. Was that done here with Yahara? I don't know, but that's one of the things that we try to check on, and that information wasn't provided. So I don't know to what extent business was diverted or what the true numbers were, because the accounting records are so awful. They're in a very bad state. The main thing that I would, Your Honor, really question on this was, as far as hard dollars missing is, I think it was at $169,000 that still could be at Robinhood. We don't have any Robinhood statements. That I would definitely want to follow up on. That's significant and material. So hopefully I've answered that, counsel, to your satisfaction.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I tender my witness, Your Honor.
All right. Why don't we take a 10-minute break in case anyone needs to use the restroom or get some water?
Thank
and
you.
then we'll pick back up.
Great.
All right, if anybody knows me, they know why I put this piece in here. They just know he's guilty Anybody, okay, it's not his hair, I get it. It's not on his head. But I believe anybody who sits there and plays with their hair the whole time is guilty. And that might not be up on top of his head, but it's close enough. He plays with his hair, he's guilty. Guilty.
Mr. Bernardin, go ahead with your cross-examination.
Oh, thanks. I wanted to reference some of the documents that you had shown. You had said about $6,500 that you added up the total of this trip, and it somehow totaled $6,500. But I just wasn't sure if you were. I know the adding is wrong because there was also a $4,000 fertilizer expense in there on that credit card. So you might have just added all of those different restaurants or whatever, and then plus that fertilizer. But there was a lot of business expense mentioned in that 6,500. And then I also didn't see mentioned in your report that my wife took out $9,900 before I even went on this trip as a cash withdrawal. And you didn't mention anything about my wife's cash withdrawal of $10,000 that literally less than a week prior. Did you notice that on the statements that you reviewed, or?
I don't recall if I noticed that, but I wasn't engaged to look at Shannon's spending behavior or any of those dollar amounts. I was only directed to focus in on your amounts.
Right. And so you would agree that your search is completely biased, and you also said, I counted 7 times, that your entire report is just pure speculation, correct?
No, that's not correct. What I stated is to I would be speculating if I would try to draw any conclusions with regards to any missing information. For example, like on the Robinhood statements, I just don't know for sure what happened to that money without looking at your account statements. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm confused as to how my lawyer didn't have that provided to you, because I had that information provided to him, but I'll make sure that it's rectified. It's a strange number, and all of the numbers that you added up, it all made perfect sense. Like when I was looking at it, you're like, this here, and then you made, okay, $15,000. Okay, it all made sense, like as I looked at your numbers. But then there was this whole weird tax document that I don't understand, because it would just be so strange. Yeah, I know you're only analyzing my spending and not Shannon's, but did you know who the business owner is? I'm not even able to open a checking account in another company's name. I can't just, if you have a company, perhaps, I can't go and just open a checking account in your name and start cashing checks like stealing your mail or something. So I'm not capable of cashing any checks from Mad City Lawn and Snow. I'm not able to open any of them. Shannon's 100% owner of that
Your
company.
Honor, I'm going to object at this time. I understand with pro se litigants that they don't know all the rules, but this again is not his opportunity to testify, so he needs to ask a question.
Mr. Bernardin, the way to do it is you're trying to present too much at once and ask questions. You need to actually focus on asking a question. So if you put out there one fact, and it could be something you want to represent to the witness, and then ask him to comment on it, or if he considered that, or if it would change his analysis, you can do that, but do one at a time. Otherwise, we're not getting questions. So let's just say, for an example, on the line you were just doing, sir, did you review who the registered owner of the business entity is?
I understand how you...
No, I'm asking him that question, so let's get an answer.
I believe I probably did, and I've gotten different answers as well. It's my understanding that, well, first of all, I'd have to look at the DFI site to see what it's registered in, or you know what? I wonder if it would also show on the background check. but it was my understanding that the business was in Gabe's name originally, but then due to bankruptcy, it was switched to Shannon, and then Mr. Bernardin or Gabe had also signature authority with the bank. So I think I've heard multiple stories about whose business it is, who's actually controlling it, and who's got access to, different things at different points in time. So
would it be fair to say that all of the information that you've been getting is coming from the people that hired you to get it, right? So you weren't looking into who owned it because they told you Gabe owned half of it. So all of the information you're getting is not from any sort of website or anything like that. You're just going off of hearsay of what they told you. Because I actually have the articles of organization.
Okay. Mr. Bernardin, just stop right there. You asked a question. Let him answer it. That was a reasonable question. So
okay.
did you review documents and perform an investigation, or just rely on what Ms. Bernardin and her counsel provided you as to who is the owner?
I looked at and asked questions from multiple sources, including you, Gabe, through counsel, through our requests. We asked for all of this documentation to be produced both by you and your counsel through Ms. Ginger Murray. And we looked at everything that we had been provided, whether it was from you, your counsel, or from Shannon's counsel, or from Shannon. And I've listed out everything that we received and we looked at.
And based on all of everything that you said, your conclusion is you only can speculate.
No, that's a mischaracterization of my testimony.
Those are not your words? I apologize. I wrote it down 7 times. You said speculate.
And Mr. Bernardin, he already explained what he meant by that. So you can give another specific example if you want and ask about it, or go ahead with another topic.
I only have one last question. It's about the deleted files. Are you able to see or know that they were duplicates? Like, I'm led to believe by reading all those file names that they actually already existed on the computer. And so that was just a duplicate file being deleted and not like its entire existence being deleted. But there was a lot of duplicate files on the computer.
Your Honor, this question was asked and answered by the expert who did that specific analysis, who said it was not duplicated. Mr. Rodriguez used the report from Digital Intelligence.
I do get that, but he's still, with an expert, he's able to pose a hypothetical. So, Mr. Bernardin, if you want to pose the hypothetical, which is, did you ever consider, Mr. Rodriguez, that some of those or all of those files that were listed as deleted might be duplicates?
Yes, it could be a possibility, but we did talk to Digital Intelligence in that these weren't duplicates.
But you said it's still a possibility. You just said that.
He explained his answer.
Okay, got it. So it's still a possibility. Yeah, that's all I got.
Maybe I'll ask a few follow-up. One of them was on the list of expenditures during the trip to the West Coast or across the country.
Okay.
And a lot was made of the fact that a number of them showed as being for July 18th. And I just glanced at the calendar for that year and noticed July 18th is a Monday. Isn't it entirely possible those were expenditures from the weekend, but with the bank account, they post all on the same day?
Yeah, that's possible. I've noticed that with my own credit cards. It depends on where you're at and when it gets posted. I've seen it. I've seen a variance between let's say 1 and 2 days usually. I've seen it where there was you incurred an expenditure, you bought something on a Friday, and then maybe it'll be posted on Monday. I've seen that before too.
Okay. Did Ms. Bernardin or Mr. Bernardin, I'd be curious in what either one told you, tell you who handled putting in the details for the business, whether putting them in QuickBooks or giving them to the accountant or otherwise recording the details?
It was my understanding that Gabe was the one that was in control of the QuickBooks records and entering that. And the other part of your question, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I think that really was the question is, so did Miss Bernadine express that to you?
Yes.
Did you ever talk to Mr. Bernadine? I couldn't tell if you just issued requests through Attorney Murray or if you spoke to him.
Yeah, no, I've had no direct discussions with Gabe or everything's been through counsel.
Okay. Another follow-up would be, in your line of work, I'm sure you've seen a variety of businesses, including closely held or small businesses like this, where it's one or two people or family members or friends. Would it be fair to say that there are many examples of just poor business practices, poor accounting practices by small businesses?
Yeah, many times there are. I wouldn't say it's a usual practice, but it wouldn't be unusual either. Yeah.
Did you have a sense here if this was a just terrible business practices problem, meaning records weren't input into QuickBooks and that's why all these numbers don't match up and now we don't have any of the receipts and nobody knows? Or could you tell if this crossed the line into maybe some money was being hidden or moved to places without everyone knowing and without trying to have records to show where it's moved?
Yeah, no, I couldn't tell definitively, why these records are in the state that they're in. In my experience, it could be that it's just sloppy bookkeeping and recording, or it could be indicative of this isn't the right QuickBooks file. I've had cases where there were two sets of books. I've had cases where there were three different sets of books as well. One they give to the bank so they can get a loan, one they're giving their other partner, and one they have, which is keeping track of what everything really is. So with this, I can't tell. It would have been more helpful if, let's say for the tax purposes, usually I try to use the tax returns to corroborate any of the numbers that I'm seeing on the books. The problem here is that they filed a Schedule C, and so it's a very condensed financial statement that's really there for tax purposes. And if it was filed as a partnership, which you can file, it will list what's on the books, and then it'll have a reconciliation of differences between book and tax, and so then you can kind of get a better insight, and you'll have a balance sheet. For this entity with Mad City, all we have is the income statement, so to speak. We don't have a balance sheet, and we don't have the detail that flows into it. And it's too big of a difference here that to form any conclusions from the financials. I think that would really be a question for the outside CPA of how could he even file the tax return with such bad records, bad record keeping. There's a lot of expenses here, as you can see, that are running through the business that are personal in nature. So I don't know what he stripped out and what he kept, for deductions. Okay. So it could be bad record keeping, to answer your question succinctly, or it could be nefarious. There could be other sets of books. I just don't know.
And you weren't, based on everything you were provided, you weren't able to render an opinion in your area of expertise, which one of those it is?
That's correct.
Okay.
Insufficient information.
Any follow-up on any of my questions? Or Mr. Bernadine's?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Bernadine, did you want to follow up on any of the few questions I just asked?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your testimony today, Mr. Rodriguez, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right, counsel, we don't have a lot of time left, and I would like to talk a little bit about getting Mr. Bernardin to get his credit report and get that to you. And then we have all day tomorrow starting at 9 o'clock set aside. So my thought is maybe don't delve into a few more questions just to stop in 10 or 15 minutes. So do you want to move any exhibits to do with that witness, Attorney Murray?
Yeah, so we used his exhibit, so the report and supporting documents would be Exhibit 8. We also got an agreement on the tax returns. Well, so let's go to the bank statements are Exhibit 2. The bank statements and the credit card statements were Exhibit 2.
Mm-hmm. So 1, 2, and 8, correct?
I don't feel justified in offering 1 just yet because I haven't had Shannon testify to it. So I think I should hold off on 1.
Okay. Mr. Bernardin, any objection to exhibits 2 or 8? 2 were bank records, credit card records, and then 8 was the report and all the documents from that witness.
No.
Okay. I'll receive exhibits 2 and 8 and to evidence. Mr. Bernardin, I forgot to tell you at lunch, but I'm fine with that because I think we'll give you this evening to work on it. I'm going to instruct you again to get a copy of your credit report and email that to Attorney Murray so she can look it over tonight or tomorrow morning. It doesn't matter to me. And Attorney Murray, I don't think has asked for any particular one. Any of the 3 should be fine. Google, get my free credit report, find the right page from the government where you can do it for free and it's the government. I know you
I'll
can
try
pick.
and get that Robinhood account too. I didn't know that he couldn't log into it.
Well, that would be great. That would help everyone if you get that. It's a little late, but go ahead and get that if it shows what happened in 2021 or what's there now or whatever. Okay. But do you understand what you have to do as far as the credit report?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to email it to Attorney Murray tonight?
Yep.
Okay. Attorney Murray, anything else you'd like us to address before I let everyone go for today?
No, so as a reminder, so I have those 2 brief witnesses that I think like 9 o'clock and 9:30 or 9:50, like maybe I'll even ask the second one to just be available at 9, knowing that we're going to start with the other witness, but I think those are going to go really fast. It's like 4 or 5, 4 questions for one and maybe 10 questions for the other.
Okay. All right. And then the rest of the day will just be the 2 parties.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Bernardin, I seem to remember because you never filed any lists, it's just going to be you. I assume you're not making any requests for me to reconsider or do anything different, correct?
What do you mean reconsider or do anything different?
I don't know. I'm just asking you if you wanted to make any record today.
You didn't make any judgment. No, I appreciate your time. I mean, I'd love it if you'd let me come back home. But
Well, I've never prevented you from finding any kind of housing you want. I've only said you can't be at the marital residence.
well, we own 3 properties.
Yeah, we're not going to get into all that right now, but
Okay.
I've never prohibited you from coming back to Wisconsin. You're welcome to find an apartment or move in with anyone you
Live
know
at
or
the house
whatever you
where all
want
my
to do.
stuff is.
Yep, you're getting divorced, Mr. Burnett, and the 2 of you are not going to
Why
live
can't I
together
move any of
anymore.
my stuff? Or
What?
I
If
was
you want
just
to get
trying
some
to.
of your stuff, that of course I'm sure would be Miss Bernardin, if you have clothes or whatever.
Well,
That
she
would've been-
moved all my premarital assets into her bedroom. They're right behind her in the video. She's sleeping
Yeah,
on my
and
bed.
those are all minor details that I'm sure would be worked out or that we could resolve. The big one is you need a place to live, and I've been telling you for months you can't live at the home where Miss Bernardin lives. There's too many
Right.
problems.
Well, we
between
have
the
2
two of you.
separate houses. Can I live at one of the 2 houses?
We've already
They're
gone
on
over
2
all
separate
that.
parcels. Just like in the city of Madison.
Sir, we've
there's
already
2
gone
houses
over all
next to
that.
each other all the time.
We've already gone over all that, and there were too many issues where that is not a
She
workable
created
solution.
all these issues. I didn't do anything. I just want to live.
And
Work,
I've been telling you
leave.
for months, Mr. Bernardin, that means you got to find somewhere new to live. It's not going to be the
You're
marital
evicting me
residence.
from my house.
In a matter of speaking, but no, it's not an eviction, but I have authority to say which of the two of you gets to live in the marital property.
Okay, but you're also going to say that I don't get any money for the property either.
No, I never said that, and that's why we're here. That's why we're having this divorce,
Well,
is so I decide who gets what money.
Ginger's pushing. I mean, Attorney Murray's pushing for me to get no money whatsoever and no
I'm gonna
rebound.
give you
defense.
100% the
Good
same
job.
opportunity to tell me what you want to and what you're arguing as
I
Ms.
hired a
Bernadette's
lawyer.
getting.
I hired a
Sir,
lawyer for
your
that.
lawyer
And
left and you stopped paying him and he
yeah,
was
both of them,
retiring
yeah,
and I
didn't
didn't.
have any money. Shannon has endless money.
Okay, we're done
I
because
don't
we're
have
not going to
endless money.
argue. I asked if you wanted some record. You're trying to get into and pick a fight. We don't need to do that. I'm going to give you your opportunity to present evidence and argument. So why don't you think about what evidence you want to present me overnight tonight and what argument you want to make tomorrow, and we'll have tomorrow to do that.
And we're starting at 8:30, Your Honor?
Tomorrow is 9 because I already had some pre-scheduled name change stuff. So
Okay.
we'll start at 9 tomorrow.
It's enabling her.
Okay, so that was day 1. So we're gonna go to today now. As soon as I find it, and I am praying that the tech gods are with me because I downloaded this while the first clip was playing, so I didn't get to open this up and double check it. But I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it will. Right? Now, again, there's some sensitive information that I have to blur out. It's a little annoying, but I got to. No, why won't you let me live? Request denied. You were on his side at the beginning, Kelly. You were. You were fighting for him this whole time. All right, day 2. And again, I cut some out, but just for time's sake. There was nothing big. Watch him take a deep breath before he lets anybody in. Here he goes. He's like, okay, now I'm ready.
Good morning. Miss Bernadette, can you see and hear me okay still? I think you accidentally muted mid-sentence there.
Okay, yep, nope, my screen went black, but I don't know why it's doing that. But yes, I can hear you and see you.
Great. Attorney Murray, how about you?
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. I see and hear you and Mr. and Mrs. Bernardin.
Great, good morning. And Mr. Bernardin, good morning. Can you see and hear me?
Yeah, good morning. I can see and hear you fine.
Perfect. And I have an iPhone in the waiting room, I assume is our first witness. I haven't let them in yet. So let me call the case. This is 22 FA 1219, in re the marriage of Shannon and Gabriel Bernardin. For the appearances today, I'll just run through them quick. I have the petitioner, Shannon Bernardin, by Zoom video, and then separately by counsel, Attorney Ginger Murray, also by Zoom video. I then have the respondent, Gabriel Bernardin, by Zoom video without counsel today. And I've confirmed each of you can see and hear me. I can see and hear each of you as well. And we're here for day 2 of our contested divorce. We're doing this by Zoom today, and we're live streaming since we're doing it by Zoom. Any preliminary issues before we call the first witness? Attorney Murray, did Mr. Bernardin get you those documents that we had talked about yesterday?
No. No, he did not. He sent me a screenshot of a partial credit karma, to which I immediately responded, hey, this is not what we were talking about. I can't tell where the beginning and where the end. And he did not get back to me, and there is nothing for Robinhood. Can we address that maybe after these witnesses? I did ask them to, I moved everything up. So I'm hoping that the next witness will be here at 9:15 because he has another meeting.
Yep. We can do that. All right, I will let the first person in.
And so I do have two witnesses under subpoena, Your Honor. The person who was expected to come in at 9:15 has indicated that he was not feeling well and did ask to keep video off. So this could be Mr. Wingrove or it could be Mr. Schneider. I'm not sure.
Okay. Good morning. This is Judge Frost. Who do I have on an iPhone device today?
You have John Schneider.
Good morning. Can you see and hear me okay?
I can.
Great. Well, you've been called as a witness today in our trial. I'm going to put you under oath, and then I'll let Attorney Murray start the questioning off, and then there will be follow-up from some others. Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down, and Attorney Murray, you can get us started, please.
Yes, and thank you, Your Honor. Do I also have permission to share screen this morning?
I probably have to reactivate it, but I'll do that right now.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Schneider. Can you state your full name and spell your last name for the court reporter?
John Schneider, Schneider.
And Mr. Schneider, you are here today pursuant to a subpoena that I issued. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You would prefer not to be here. Is that a fair statement?
That's fair.
Okay. I don't think it will take very long. I'm going to show you a document and ask you if you recognize it. Are you able to, oops, let's see, I'm gonna move everybody's faces over here. Are you able to see the screen share, Mr. Schneider?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm showing you what is titled a land contract, and I see that the vendor is listed as KJ Investment Properties, a Wisconsin limited liability company, care of John Schneider. Is that you?
Correct. Yes.
And then as for the purchaser, it lists Mad City Lawn and Snow LLC, care of Shannon Bernadette. So do you recognize this land contract that you entered into with Mad City Lawn and Snow by way of Shannon Bernadette?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And the nature of a land contract is that you are the owner and they are the purchaser, provided they comply with all of the terms in this land contract. Is that a fair summary?
Yes.
Okay. To date, has there been substantial compliance with the terms of this contract?
Yes.
Okay. And there are monthly payments that are required of $2,145.53. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in addition, the purchaser is to deposit a monthly amount estimated to be 1/12 of the property tax bill for each year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then this is expected to continue for 362 months. Is that also correct?
That is correct.
Okay. At paragraph 7, it indicates that there will be a deed upon payment in full. And so that is intended to represent that the warranty deed that would transfer full title will not be provided until all terms for payment have been complied with. Is that correct?
Yes.
And in the event of a default, such as payment more than 15 days late, you have the right, pursuant to paragraph 10, to terminate this contract, and therefore all the funds that have been paid would have been as if they were a tenant or a renter, because you can exercise the, I guess it would be penalties, the terms of this contract and take back the property. Is that also correct?
That is correct.
And according to paragraph 12, the purchaser is not able to transfer, sell, or convey any interest they might have because this remains your property until there's full compliance. Is that also correct?
I believe, yeah, that's the way I understand it.
Okay. All right, and so you're aware of the fact, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. You're aware of the fact that Mr. and Mrs. Bernadette are going through a divorce, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So this court is going to be addressing rights as between Mr. and Miss Bernadette, but doesn't really have the ability to issue orders outside of these two parties. So the reason I summons you here is not just to go through the land contract because they could have done that themselves, but I also took advantage of the fact you're here to do that and that I didn't think you would argue with me like some others might. So thank you for letting us get through the land contract. The question I'm getting to is, are you willing to allow for my client, Ms. Bernadette, to continue under this land contract with you directly should the court award her whatever interests these parties have?
Yes, I mean, as long as substantially she can handle the payments on the contract, I would, with any change in contract, we would look at what their financial capabilities were. But absolutely.
Okay. Your Honor, that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Mr. Bernadette, did you want to ask any questions of Mr. Schneider?
Yeah. John, do you think that I have any vested interest financially in that property?
I mean, as it's a marital property, I guess because it's Mad City, I don't know what the liabilities are. I would think.
Your Honor, I'll object as to whether or not this person has the knowledge about what the marital interest might be. I think that's left for the court to decide.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess the only question I'd let him answer is, Mr. Schneider, I assume the land contract has not been modified in any way, or there's no other agreement specifying who has any rights other than what's in the land contract itself?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't quite understand it.
Have you or your business ever entered into any agreements modifying the land contract with either Mr. or Miss Bernadette or their company?
We've never modified anything with that particular land contract since its inception.
Okay. All right. Mr. Bernadette, any other questions?
Yeah. Mr. Schneider, were you aware that I was evicted from this property?
Your Honor, irrelevant. Objection, irrelevant.
I'm going to sustain that objection. Mr. Bernadette, ask another question, please.
Yeah. Just for the record, how long have we known each other personally, John?
God, it's got to be 10 plus years, I would think. Maybe more, 12.
And how long have either me or my wife been mowing your lawn, for the record?
We've been in our house for 7 years, so I believe pretty much since we've owned it.
And did we do the house before that?
I don't believe so, but maybe. To my recollection, I don't remember.
On Stonehaven, before you moved?
Mad City and you and your wife have mowed other properties that I've had, but I don't believe you did Stonehaven. That was a small lawn, and I think we took care of it ourselves.
Yeah, I mowed Stonehaven 1,000 times.
Objection, Your Honor, arguing
Anyways,
with...
I have no further questions.
Any redirect on that, Attorney Murray?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, thank you. I appreciate your testimony today, Mr. Schneider. I'm going to let you go. You're released from your subpoena, and I hope you have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, the court.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye. Attorney Murray, I do have Matt Wingrove in the waiting room. Would you like to call him next?
Yes, please. While we're waiting, Your Honor, my staff did indicate that they uploaded what Mr. Bernadette did provide just before the start of the hearing today.
I forgot to ask on that land contract. Was that an exhibit that we should be pulling through?
Well, I'm sorry, it is. That's my mistake. It is at page 27 of Shannon's financial disclosure statement. So that's exhibit 1, and I still have more to bring in on exhibit 1, but that's where it was located.
Okay. Well, I do not have Mr. Wingrove in the waiting room. I don't know what issues he's running into. Do we have a phone number or anything that we could call him at? Oh, he just popped back in.
I think my staff does. Oh, there he is. Did you say that? I missed it.
Yeah, no worries. All right, Mr. Wingrove, are you able to unmute now?
Ooh, that's
Hello.
Yeah, good morning. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can, yes. Thank you. Thank you for trying that. You've been called as a witness today, so I am going to put you under oath, and then I'm going to let Attorney Murray ask you questions and Mr. Bernardin ask you questions. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah, I do.
Thank you. You can feel free to put your hand down. And Attorney Murray, why don't you get us started?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wingrove, would you please state your full name and spell your last name for the court reporter?
Matthew Wingrove, Wingrove.
Okay. Thank you for appearing. You are here under subpoena, is that correct?
Correct.
You would prefer not to be here, is that fair?
Probably.
Yeah. Seems that you might be feeling better. I did forewarn the judge that you said you might only be able to appear by audio and not video. Thank you for being here. Mr. Wingrove, are you in the business of lawn care or winter care, snow removal?
Yeah, both.
No. Okay. And have you had occasion to work with or for Mr. Bernardin or Mad City Lawn and Snow or Yahara Lawn and Snow?
Yeah, the Mad City Lawn and Snow. We've worked with him and his wife over the last, off and on, like, I don't know, maybe 8 years.
Okay.
I think something. I know it's been. Yeah, they used to do like a lot of lawn mowing for us, years back.
Okay. And when you do that work, what are the terms for compensation for the work that is connected with your business or you doing work in connection with their business?
Hold on a second. Please be quiet. Do you understand what this means? Yeah, thanks. Sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, Mr. Bernardin told us you have several children. Are they trying to participate?
No, I just drove to the office. I was gonna see if Ashley could help me find some of this stuff that you might need this morning, but then she unexpectedly had to stay home. So I just woke up a little bit ago. So I drove here to see if I could try to find emails and get into the QuickBooks if needed.
Okay.
Sorry, I just got guys here. They were talking loud.
I understand. Thank you. I thank you for asking them to be quiet so you can be heard. We'll just deal with answers that you're able to provide as best as you're able to provide. But the question that I did ask is, what would the arrangements be between businesses or between you and the Bernardins whenever you were doing work with or for one another?
I mean, if we're working for each other, we would, typically pay them, or I don't know, we may have bartered services before too, but I think mostly, just payment.
Did there ever come a time when you were doing work and not getting paid?
Except for recently. Yeah. I don't think so. I mean, I think he did more work for us in previous transactions.
Okay, and when you said except for more recently, can you explain to the court in the best terms possible, at what point in time did it become apparent that you were doing work without receiving the expected compensation?
It was, I guess it started with last winter. He had hurt his shoulder or something like that. And so he needed help with sidewalks. I think we had a sidewalk crew do some work for him a couple times to help on a storm. And then he was also utilizing some of our salt, kind of on like an honor system. And, you know, we had to pay for that, the salt that he would use. And then into the summer, we did some lawn mowing. And then we did some, at the movie theater, we did like, cleanups and, bush trimming and weed pulling and just, you know, huge, like clean up and spread some mulch and stuff like that. I think I had 4 guys there for, I don't know, a few days.
And so through this trial, we've had an opportunity to look at some of the client files. Are you referring to the Marcus Theater in Sun Prairie?
Correct.
Okay. And when you would do that type of work at Gabe's request when he was injured, what was the expectation about who would be invoicing the clients?
Initially, I mean, he was supposed to invoice the customer. I'd imagine that was initially what I would have assumed was being done, but I guess we didn't talk about that. And I don't know. I don't know. He talked to me about what I was billing, you know, and talked to Megan in my office as far as like who does his internal invoicing. I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
I know
I
that
just meant,
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
go
to
ahead.
interrupt. I didn't need you to know which person. I meant which entity, your business or the business he works.
Oh, he should have invoiced. Yeah, their company should have invoiced the customer, and then they should have paid us for services.
Got it. And is it your understanding that Gabe and Shannon have this business together?
Correct.
Did you approach Shannon to ask her if she could invoice?
I did.
And this is one of the times where you get to talk about what somebody else said. Did she say that she would, she could, she couldn't? Like what was her response?
It was pushback because it sounds like a messy divorce situation, and neither one of them really cared to like dive into it. It was, those are his accounts and I've got my own response. So it wasn't like super important, you know, of a matter.
Messy divorce is accurate. Let me ask you this. So we've heard some testimony already, so I don't need to revisit all that, but in sum and substance, did there come a point in time where Mr. Bernardin offered to barter items of value to offset the bill?
Yeah, like the van, and that was the first item then.
How much do you have a sense of how much was owed to you before any property items were offered to offset the amount owed?
I don't know. I don't remember. the Marcus Theater bill added up so fast, so quick, and I can't remember if that was prior or after. I don't recall.
So if what I would like you to know is part of the task when going through this divorce is figuring out what debts are owed and putting them on the balance sheet. Could you just give us our best estimate of what you think you are owed for the work that you did with Matthew or Yahara or Gabe or Shannon?
I don't know. I wish I could hold on.
Well, here's another way I can ask it. So he did give you the van, is that correct?
Yeah.
Did the two of you talk about what the value of the van was, or what would the credit be to offset the bill when the van was given to you?
Yeah, I want to say it was between 7 or 9, but I mean the transmission was shot, so I feel like it was kind of open-ended. I don't know. I wish I could get into my QuickBooks because I feel like there was a credit on there. Maybe it was less. Because of the transmission. It was was there I may have sent Shannon a statement. Hold on 1 second. That might have shown it on there, but here. All right, thanks. Oh, all right. Matt, thanks. Trying to get into, I know I think I can get into my, gosh, every app I go on needs to be updated.
I know you said you were having trouble with staff. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't, yeah, I just.
Okay. Let me ask it differently. After he gave you the van, was it clearly understood between the two of you that more was owed?
Yeah. Because I don't know so that was more communication between him and Megan. And there was, that was the office manager at the time. She was more or less handling all the communication with him. I honestly didn't want anything to do with it. So I tried to stay out of it. She was handling all the lawn mowing that we were doing. I just told her, make sure you keep really good track of what we are owed so that it doesn't like overly surpass the value. You know what I mean? And make sure that we're not owed too much beyond that. And this was unfortunately during the time where I think she was mentally not giving a crap with the business. And then she ended up walking out, I don't know, at some point shortly after. Because I do know that there was some confusion. And then once she quit, I reached out to Gabriel and I said, we've got 4 mowing. She's like, he said, there should have only been 2 because Shannon was taking over. I gave her the business. I said, well, then she clearly wasn't doing it if we had done 4 and nobody ran into each other, essentially. So I said, unfortunately, Megan didn't relay that information to the subcontractors that we utilized to help him out, and keep, because we just played middleman. It wasn't even employees that did the work. It was subs. So we were, again, not making much on it. So he said that he had told Megan only 2, like I said, but again, it ended up being 4. But I said, well, just invoice. Obviously, customers aren't going to care that they got service because nobody else was doing it. You want to keep your customers happy. And then he had said that, Shannon took over, but that he would invoice it. But then, I don't know, him and our communication seemed to not be the greatest. And so then I did reach out to Shannon to ask for assistance. And I told you again how that went.
Yeah. So was there a point in time where he offered other property items as a means to try and assuage or offset the bill owed to you?
Yeah, there was the storage unit stuff that it was down the road from our shop, and he had told us how to get into it, and so I had paid my guys to go grab whatever, because I guess the unit was ending and he couldn't afford to pay it. So, and then there was stuff in there that he felt that was important to Shannon and her family, that was sentimental and stuff, and maybe some personal stuff. And so that's why I had them come over, and, I had them, I showed them what was there, and, I let them grab whatever they needed.
Okay.
Who is they? Are you talking about Shannon?
Yeah, and her mom. No, Shannon and her mom.
And are you saying that your workers recognized that some of that stuff might be important to Shannon, or did Gabe tell you that?
No, Gabe did. Gabe said there's like a barn door that had something to do with her house that she grew up in or something like that. And, there was just, personal stuff. I think there were some bags of clothes or something like that. And I really don't know that when they came and looked at it, that was like the first time that I really saw. I mean, I took some pictures of the unit when I first opened it, but I wasn't there when it actually got all pulled out and moved. So there wasn't, I don't know, I didn't have the time. I was looking for a new office manager. My business life was upside down. So there's just one more thing that I didn't want to deal with. But I felt stuck.
How many people did you have to send out to go get the items?
I don't know, maybe it's two.
You're cutting out, Mr. Wingrove.
It could have been either 2 guys or 4 guys. I don't know.
And did they have to take a big truck, or how did they get the things?
I imagine they just took a truck. I mean, it was only like 3 blocks away from my shop, actually. So it wasn't very far. But I don't know what they actually took.
And is it fair to say that, so did Shannon come to your shop more than once about these items?
I think she came by. I think she stopped by twice, maybe.
And do you recall that she took a video the first time she and her mom were there to video what she could identify as having been from the Bernadette family?
I think so.
And is it fair to say that she wasn't equipped to transport home the things that she wanted on that first visit?
Right, that's why she came back.
All right. Do you have a sense? Well, let me ask this. Have you already sold some of the items that were delivered?
No.
I reached out to you when Shannon noticed the chairs. So you were attempting to sell these orange chairs, right?
Yeah, I still am.
Okay. Are there other items? Oh, I'm sorry, my video. I'm going to just turn it off and turn it back on. Okay. Are there other items of value that you intend to sell?
I don't know. There were a few snowboards that were worth maybe 150 each. I had them priced out by a guy that sells them right here in town. There was 3 of them. I think, yeah. And I gave those to my kids for Christmas. So I can credit those. I'm trying to think what else that I saw on there. Then she knows about, that's what I was gonna say. I know there's a fertilizer, which it may come in useful, it may not, where if we can use it, we can, credit that. but we're not licensed at the moment to apply fertilizer. I was trying to, we were trying to utilize Gabriel on that aspect of it, but I don't even know how much lawn mowing we're going to be doing this year because of our office troubles. We're a little behind.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
All right. And so there was the van, some items from the storage unit, and you don't have a real sense of what would still be owed to you. Could you just ballpark it
I
at
say $9,000, $10,000, maybe. I don't know with, I wish I could find those emails offhand maybe Gabriel can see how much, like each mowing paid out. I know the first mowing was like kind of discounted. There were prices that he was wanting to make something off of them. And then I know Megan renegotiated to be able to do it again because we couldn't get our guys to do it for those prices. So I don't remember. I'd have to do some digging, but so I know the first rate was cheaper than the ones following, but and then like I said, the Marcus Theater bill added up quick. I thought that was $4,000 or $5,000, and it was hourly. So like he was supposed to bill them hourly, and he'd be able to make the difference or whatever. But I don't know. But then there was some emails that we got copied in, and I know that they had said to him that they had paid him for some parts of it, but I don't remember what that all included.
Okay. Well, I said that I would keep this short, and I guess there was just one other component of it. Would you say that, let me ask it this way. Did Shannon approach you about the van?
Oh, yeah. She stopped at my house, and we talked about it.
Did she seem surprised to learn that you had the van?
Yeah.
Do you think, did Gabe tell you, or did you have any reason to believe that Shannon knew what was going on as far as the money that was owed to you and this bartering to take care of the debt?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I didn't seem like they were really on talking terms at that time. He had mentioned the divorce, but then, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. I understand. I'm glad to see you're feeling better. Hope your staff issues work out. Your Honor, I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Wingrove, I have one. I don't know if I missed it. What's your business? Do you have the name of your business?
It's All Service Specialist.
Okay. And prior to these issues that came up where you weren't getting paid and you were doing work and then you were following up with both parties, in the years earlier where things were good between your two companies, who did you work with? Both parties, one, the other?
And mostly just Gabriel.
Okay. Mr. Bernardin, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Mr. Wingrove?
Yeah. How long have we known each other, just for the record?
I don't know. I'd said I think it was like maybe 8 years. I mean, it's been a long time. I don't know exactly.
And how many times have you been to our house and met Shannon?
Probably a dozen times.
Okay. Do you feel that I have a vested interest in that property?
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay, sorry.
Objection.
Mr. Bernardin, first of all, I don't know what property you're talking about. Can you explain that? A vested interest in what property?
Our home. The home that I was evicted from.
Well, first of all, you weren't evicted, and second, why would he know that? Why would he know what interest you or Shannon has in the property? I'm going to sustain the objection. You can ask another question.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I do have one other question.
Go ahead.
Do you, no, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Wingrove. I appreciate your testimony today. I'm going to let you go. I'll release you from your subpoena, and I hope you have a good day.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
I hope he
Okay.
goes to bed. Get some rest.
Counsel, did you want to just keep going with testimony?
Sure, unless you want to talk about the credit report that isn't.
Well, I guess that's what I'm asking you. Do you want to do testimony now, or do you want to tackle that?
I would like to talk about the credit report that isn't.
Okay, so let me just ask, Mr. Bernardin, why did you not go on that free credit report site and get a full credit report?
I went to my Credit Karma. That's where I've always gotten my credit reports in the past. And at the top, it said I can print. I didn't have access to a printer. I can get it printed, but then I have to figure out how to scan it, all of which can be worked out. I just was under time constraints, the middle of the night.
Sure. But I had said, go to this website, do this.
Yeah, the Credit Karma.
No, that's a whole different thing, is why I'm asking.
That's
why,
where I've always gone to get my credit report, is Credit
And
Karma.
that's fantastic for you, Mr. Bernardin, but I had been very clear.
I know.
And I had explained to you, go to Google free credit report, go to the government website. Why didn't you do that?
I did how I always have known to get my credit report in the past, which is my Credit Karma.
Okay, well, on our next break, try to get a full one. If you can do it on Credit Karma, I guess that's one option, but
it's fully there.
No, sir, let me explain a little bit. I'm not a very tech savvy person, so I don't hold it against anyone else who's not. But even on your phone, usually when you have something where it has a print option, if you click the little, I don't know what you call it, the little menu of printers, there usually is an option, save as PDF. It's weird that you have to print to do that, but that's usually an option.
Right.
And then
yeah, I would have loved that option.
And it's probably on your phone is what I'm telling you. So if you click the little drop-down menu for printers, there's probably a print as PDF or save as PDF option there. Most devices have that these days. So you may be able to do it that way, where you wouldn't actually be printing it, though you're using the print option. I don't know why that's how it's set up, but it is. And that should let you save it as a PDF, which would make it so you have the whole thing right on your phone and you could email it as an attachment. So maybe we should just take a 10-minute break now. He can try to do that, and then we'll finish up.
It might take longer than 10 minutes, but I will continue to try.
So if what you know best is
credit report
Karma,
that's on file, right? And you do have the credit report that's already on file. And I know that you said that she's not responsible for any debts after the marriage or the divorce had started.
Sir,
right?
You say that it's on file, and it may well be. I would have to dig through the entire file to try to figure out where it is, because I don't know when or where or if your attorney or you ever uploaded it. It may well be there somewhere. I just don't know where it is. If it was attached or not named properly, or it was attached to a financial disclosure, I would have to look through every single one of them to try to figure out where it is. I don't do that. I'm sorry, what?
I'll try and send it again. Like, I'm going to keep working at it.
Okay, so wait 1 second though. So I told you, you can try Credit Karma if that's what you know, and that gives you an actual option where it's from Equifax, TransUnion.
Trying to get logged in.
Could you stop talking when I talk, okay? My court reporter can't write it down. I can't hear you. You can try that. I'm also going to right now show you the website.
I'm happy to give you my social security number. It's all over. I put it on my Facebook.
You put what on your Facebook?
My social security number.
Why in the world would you do that?
He invited anyone to use it.
Yeah, it's useless. So my credit report is no secret. Like, I think Attorney Murray should be able to pull that right up in front of her right now. Anybody should be able to access that. It's public record.
If you're giving me permission to use your social security number, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, go ahead. It's on my Facebook. It's public record.
Okay. Well, that makes no sense to me, but I'm not going to even make any comments. So you and Attorney Murray can put on the record what you want about that, but I'm going to share my screen and show you the actual website. I just found it. I went to usa.gov/credit reports, which is from the federal government. It's their website, and they have a first option, how to get a copy of your credit report. And then it links you to online by visiting annualcreditreport.com. That's the website, the only source for free credit reports is authorized by federal law. I'll just show you my screen quick so you can see what it looks like. Right there, Mr. Bernardin. Can you see it? Annualcreditreport.com.
Yeah, it's really small, but yeah, I can see it.
So that would be the website, annualcreditreport.com. You go there, you request your report. You have to answer a bunch of questions. So I don't know how Attorney Murray is going to do it. Usually they make you verify who you are. So you have to like answer about prior addresses or other loans you've had or things like that. We're not going to do that on the record, but if you want to give Attorney Murray a call during a break and walk her through those answers, that's between the two of you, if that's how you want to do it. I'm going to stop sharing at this point.
Your Honor, can I also speak to that?
You can
Go
just
ahead.
log into my Credit Karma if you want.
So when you go on your phone, let's see if I can do a good job.
It's so great.
There's that arrow. When you have a document and you click on that arrow, it gives you the option to forward it. And so you can click on that arrow and then forward it to me and I can upload it for the court.
I don't have Apple device. Is that an Apple device? I don't have that.
They all have it, sir.
Android.
Yeah, Android has it too.
Okay. Yeah,
I think it may look a little different on an Android, but there is an option.
Yeah.
Okay.
On second thought, I don't want to access anything of Mr. Bernardin's in case something goes wrong. I don't want to be accused of having done anything.
Chicken.
I certainly won't be. So, Mr. Bernardin, go ahead and try. We'll take a short break now, and we'll check back in about 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, this time I did not keep myself muted. Who thinks he was able to do what he was told?
Mr. Bernardin, are you able to see and hear me still?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Miss Bernardin?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Let's go back on the record. I have all the parties and counsel back. I've confirmed everyone can still see and hear me. Mr. Bernardin, any luck getting that?
Yeah, I emailed Ginger. Did you get my email, Ginger? I mean, Attorney Murray. Oh, she's on mute.
She's probably checking her email would be my guess.
Watch her
She's on
face
mute.
when she says what she says.
You are on mute, Attorney Murray. We can't hear you.
I said my best stuff.
Oh.
He sent me an email with his login and password, which is Ginger753 $.
So you should be able to log right in and print it.
And that's for your Credit Karma?
Yep. I just changed the password just now for this trial so she can log in and print it, and then I'll go back in and change the password in a day or whatever. It hasn't always been Ginger753 pound.
All right, if you'll just give me a minute. All right, I am in. I'm not particularly familiar with this, so I need to find where to get the report. Your Honor, can I share a screen and maybe Mr. Bernardin can tell me where I go to get the report?
I think you just click on the number, the really,
On your
really
credit score?
low number.
Okay.
There's a number where it says, looks like it could be like the price at the gas pump. It's so low. No, that's my credit score. You click that number. It's like you take Shannon's number, you divide it by 3, and then you should find where the number is.
I love this
I
guy.
am able to print it, Your Honor. 1 second.
There.
Ladies,
Yep.
he's single. Ladies, he's single.
Your Honor, should I e-file it as a financial disclosure statement so it's sealed?
Yeah, let's do that. All right, now that you have that, are we ready to get back to some testimony?
Yes, I'm going to upload it so that it's out there and yes, open. Okay.
All right, and so everyone's aware, I'm going to be calling lunch probably at about 11:50 because I have a judges meeting I have to get to. I have to be there at noon today. My hope, it's a very packed meeting, so my hope will be to be back right around 1 or a little bit after, but it might be a little later if the meeting runs long. Did you want to continue with Mr. Bernardin?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Bernardin, it's a new day, so I'm going to put you under oath again. Can you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Attorney Murray, whenever you're ready.
Thank you.
Time to pull some teeth.
Starting over where we left off on the discovery responses, I'm not going to spend time on any of the answers where you clearly said no or denied it, but I do have questions about what your intentions were in responses that were neither yes or no. So I'm going to scroll down to, oops, this is production of documents. And request to admit. Number 6, I ask, admit that you invested funds in a Robinhood account during the marriage. Your response was, Shannon has full access to the Robinhood account, and we only use that account for a very short period of time. The only money into that account or out of that account were into Shannon's checking account. Does that mean you are admitting that you invested funds?
We saw the list yesterday of all the deposits in withdrawals into and out of the Robinhood account from the forensic analysis expert.
Hey, Mr. Bernadette,
We both
Mr. Bernadette, please stop.
together.
Please stop.
I'm sorry, I thought I was answering your question.
No, you're not. So requests to admit, the answers are admit or deny. And so we do not have time for you to say everything you want to say during my examination. You will have a chance to testify. So I'm asking you, admit or deny.
What did I write there?
No, I don't care what you wrote. The responses are supposed to be admit or deny.
Shannon and I did everything
No,
together.
Mr. Bernadette, you have a choice, admit or deny.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we
Admit, very
invested
good.
into Robinhood. There was never.
I
any
only
question.
need one word, sir. On number 7, admit that you withdrew funds from a Robinhood account during the marriage. Admit or deny.
Shannon did. It was Shannon's account. So actually, Shannon invested into Robinhood, and Shannon withdrew the money from Robinhood. It was one checking account.
Sir, who engaged in the trades on Robinhood?
Us together, jointly, over the phone. Like it was a matter of like a day or a week that it was a total that we played around with this thing, and we made a little bit of money, 15,000 as your experts showed, and then we brought it back right away and we were done.
So your testimony is that you were able to deposit funds into Robinhood over the phone?
I don't know if it required a desktop. I mean, I think at some point there was a desktop. I don't think you can only do it over the phone. No,
Who created the account?
we did it together.
Sir, you created the account and you were required by court order to produce the information for both the username and
I
password,
gave you
correct?
the username and password. It was on the desktop of the computer, and it was also given to you on the flash drive.
And you created that account, correct?
The flash drive that I gave you?
Mr. Bernadette, you created the Robinhood account, yes or no?
We did it together.
Mr.
Just like
Bernadette,
we created our checking account together. We had
Mr.
joint
Maurice, he
finance.
answered the question. If you don't think it's the truth, I'm not going to have you argue with him. If you have something to present him, you can. Otherwise, move on to the next question.
Mr. Bernadette, who created the username and the password?
We did it together. We always had a same set of username and passwords that we used for all of our accounts. We always knew, they had it written down on a little notebook by the computer.
My request number 8, either you will admit or you will deny. The request was to admit that you did not deposit the funds you withdrew from a Robinhood account into an account held jointly with Shannon.
All the statements show that all that money went right back into Shannon's account. It all took place within a week. You have the statement on the desktop. And I'm still trying to get logged into the Robinhood account. I
Request
didn't know that
to,
you couldn't get in. I'm sorry.
do you understand that nobody else can log into the Robinhood account because you have a 2-factor authentication security with that account?
I believe that every Robinhood user has extra security. I believe that that's how their company works. And this is the first that I learned that you guys weren't able to ever log in to the Robinhood account because my attorney never told me anything like that. You guys had all the passwords. There was a full list of all the passwords to every account, all the logins, every statement. Everything imaginable was on that desktop and also mailed directly to your office on that USB drive. And I
Mr.
still have all
Bernadette.
that information. All the password list is still there. So, but I do have a different phone number. So the two-factor authentication for me logging into Robinhood now is a little bit trickier because now I have a different phone number. But I haven't logged into that account in years. So, you know, you have the password that, you know, is there, and I'm still going to try and use it, but they're trying to like send me a code to my old phone number that I don't have access to. So I'm just trying to work through, hopefully they can send me like a code through the email, like Credit Karma did. I'm trying to get logged in. I've only been trying for 24 hours. We've had 2 years for you guys to tell me that you couldn't get logged into Robinhood. No, my lawyer never told me any of that.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that I'm objecting that he's non-responsive, and I'm asking for his rambling to be stricken from the record.
Yeah, Mr. Bernardin, it's a point in your examination where most of the questions are yes or no, or admit or deny, or things like that. We don't need the expounding. I talked to you about this yesterday over and over. We're not going to get through everything today, I can't imagine, especially if you keep doing that. So please just answer the question. If you feel like more explanation is needed, you could say, I need to clarify, and then see if Attorney Murray is going to allow it. And if not, it's her questioning. You'll get to add more later when it's your time to tell me whatever you want to tell me. So I will strike that answer to the last question. I won't consider it. Go ahead with either repeating it or trying your next question.
Request to admit number 10. Admit you used credits or value from the Badger Barter account for personal purchases. Admit or deny?
Deny.
Request to admit number 12. Admit that Shannon does not have the proper credentials to provide fertilizer service to Mad City Lawn and Snow clients.
Deny. Any employee can do it. The business has a license.
Request to admit number 13. Admit that you decided how to divide the clients of Mad City Lawn and Snow clients.
Shannon handed me a list that was highlighted. That's how I knew what I was getting.
Do you recall your attorney, your first attorney, being the one to produce the list that was adopted as a court order?
Shannon handed me the list, and that's what I started to do. I mean, she was only capable of doing whatever she wanted to do, and I wanted her to be comfortable with doing whatever she was comfortable doing. So she picked the list.
So you're denying that you created the list of clients to be shared?
I created a list as a proposed financial split. I created a more equitable list, but you guys never acknowledged it. So I did create a list, but that's not the list that we were using. I tried to split the list down the middle, so it was money right down the middle, but that was never the list. She never decided to do down the middle. She only wanted to do 10%. She didn't work all winter long. She had decided not to work for all that 7 months, and then she refused to do any of the fertilizer work. So she only
What 7 months, sir? What 7 months are you suggesting that Shannon Bernardin did not do work?
October 22 through the entire winter. Well, it was actually, you know, I don't know if October, November, December, January, February, March, until the grass started growing. That was hard. I mean, it was too hard on my body. Threw my shoulder out.
And do you agree that you have previously provided testimony or statements to the court that it was intended that Shannon would be a stay-at-home mom?
I've always given that option if she wanted it. She's never wanted that. She's always wanted to be, more active. But like we've discussed that as an option. I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
But yeah, she never wanted that.
On request to admit number 48, I typed up, admit that you offered to provide services from the lawn/snow business for free to voters who lived in the jurisdiction in which you were seeking an elected position. You said you don't remember. Do I need to pull up the advertisement for you running for town president?
Yes.
Or do you remember these days?
No, I don't remember. Can you pull it up?
You don't remember if you ran for town president?
I didn't run for town president. My name wasn't on the ballot. But I do remember clearing a lot of snow that winter. Sometimes, and as we've always done, we take care of elderly people.
And did you offer to clear snow for free for anyone who lived in Windsor while you were running for an elected position in Windsor?
I was never running for an elected position in Windsor, but I've always offered free services to clients. It's a great way to grow new business. People like it. They always end up becoming paying clients in the future and referring their neighbors. So I did what I've always done. So yeah, I offered free services. I've always offered free services. I would shovel your driveway if it gave you a little bit more peace of mind, and I wouldn't charge you anything. You'd probably refer your neighbors. You'd really appreciate that, whether you deserved it or not.
On request number 49, admit that without any notice to or discussion with Shannon, you made a significant payment to family in October of 2021 when your family did not expect that amount of payment at that time. Yes or no?
I have no idea anything about this.
You don't recall writing a check for $21,000 thereabout to your dad?
To finish off the payment of the loan?
This is not a time for you to ask me a question. Do you remember writing a check? Let's say it's
No.
$18,000 or more to your dad.
No. We had to write a lot of checks to him because we were on a payment plan. But we were writing $10,000 checks at a time every single month, it seems like, with that company. So that was so long ago. I don't remember, no. That would have been.
You have a debt to your dad, sir?
Excuse me?
Did you owe money to your dad?
Yeah, we already discussed all of that, and it was in the higher amount, in the higher pages. he sent us a loan, and we paid half of it back in $3,000 increments.
So if there were monthly amounts, was there a point in time where you decided to pay?
At the very end, yeah, we had come into more money than we usually had in the winter. So we had extra. So yeah, I think the goal was to pay that off. Instead, we ended up getting concrete or one of the other home remodelings around the house. We spent $100,000 on the property just in upgrade.
Did you write a check to your father without telling Shannon you were writing that check?
No. Shannon and I did all of our finances together. She sat on my lap whenever we wrote a check.
Yes, I remember.
It was a bonding experience for us.
What do you believe the amount was of the last check that was written to your father?
I don't recall.
What's your best guess?
I don't know. I don't have a guess. I would have to look at the checkbook, which is in the office.
Do you recall other checks bouncing because of the check that you wrote to your father?
Well, I know in the entire duration of our marriage, we've only ever bounced a check once, to my recollection. But I don't remember what it was for. But I do remember that there's been once in our entire marriage. I don't think I bounced a check to him though. I think she canceled it before it was ever gone through. I don't think there was any sort of bounce check.
She
But
canceled
we've-
what?
A check. This check that you're talking about.
What check am I talking about?
You said there's a $21,000 check that I bounced, apparently. But I don't have
Was
the check.
there?
I don't
Well,
know.
it sounds
have the
like you
check
know
then.
she canceled it, so what did she cancel?
Whatever check that you're talking about, because I don't remember bouncing a check.
Do you
At
remember
all.
writing it?
No. I would have to look at the ledger. If the ledger, I clearly, I know my handwriting. Shannon could grab the ledger. It's probably right next to her and just look at it.
I'm
Did
just
I
trying
write
to
the
see if
check?
you'll tell.
Then, yeah.
I'm just trying to see if you'll tell the truth about it.
You're asking me about something 6 years ago. You know how many checks I wrote in the last 6 years? We went through a lot of the money.
The only one I'm asking you about, sir, is the check
Was
that you
6
wrote
years
to
ago.
your dad.
One check 6 years ago. No, I don't remember one check 6 years ago. I don't remember the total of it. I don't remember the date of it. I do remember that the termination of that loan was over 6 years ago. So whatever you're referencing is beyond my recollection.
Okay. As it relates to the request for production of documents, I had 14 requests. Do you agree that you did not provide a single document pursuant to my request?
I've already provided you every document. I gave you every document, yes.
When you sent in your email with this document, with your typed answers, did you provide any documents?
I mailed you a flash drive to your office.
No,
Did
you
you
didn't.
receive the flash drive? I sent it
Mr.
certified. mail.
Bernadette, do you agree that you sent me your discovery responses by email?
Yeah, I typed it in. You emailed me, I typed it in and I sent it back to you, yeah?
And when you typed it back and sent it back to me, you did not attach or in any way include any documents. Is that correct?
The documents that you requested, I mailed directly to your office because I couldn't attach them. It was way too much to attach to an email.
When did you send me your discovery responses? Do you agree that was just shortly before March 1st?
Yeah, it was whenever, yeah, it was just a month ago. Yeah.
When you sent me those responses, you did not provide any additional papers, correct?
It was in an email. So I couldn't fit it in the size of the email. It was already a large email. So I mailed them directly to your office.
Are you saying you mailed something to my office in the last couple of weeks?
No, this is we're talking about the flash drive with all the documents on it, with all these documents that you're saying that I'm not giving you. I already have given to you. And they're on the computer that you cloned. We just saw all those documents by the forensics guy yesterday.
And so are you talking about information that was provided in November of 2022?
What? Yeah, I mean, all these.
Do you see
past
that it says
statements you've had.
produce an updated copy of your Social Security earning history? You only provided that after the judge ordered it, correct?
Yeah, I guess I didn't understand that question.
You don't understand the question?
You've got all sorts of legal jargon in here. And I'm sorry, I'm just not hip to jive on your legal jargon.
So where the request states, produce an updated copy of your Social Security earning history.
You got that now.
I'm not done. Which can be obtained at ssa.gov. You did not understand that.
No, but the objective has been completed now. So we've already got that information. I didn't know you didn't have it. I didn't know how to get it. Like I wasn't, it took, you know how long it took me to work through the ssa.gov? It's even harder than trying to call Equifax. But like the verifications are all different when you change your phone number. I've also been working a lot.
Where I asked, provide proof of earnings from any employer since the filing of the divorce. You gave me no documents, correct?
For the what? Proof of earnings from any employer? Shannon was my employer. I don't understand.
Where are you working now, sir?
Well, now I've got this spot over here receptioning at Lake Tire and Auto.
And when I asked for this information that you were to provide before March 1st, you did not do so, correct?
You know, I guess I didn't realize that I was not giving you something that you need.
Well, you did not give me anything I asked for, did you?
Well, you already had all that information, I thought.
Mr. Bernadette, I'm going to ask this really simple question. When you...
I didn't read that part, okay? I already told you my reading comprehension isn't so great. Why are you continuing to attack me about it?
I'm just trying to get a straightforward answer. The clear question I'm asking you is, when you responded to this discovery, you did not provide a single document with these discovery responses, correct?
I already had all the documents.
Mr. Bernadette, it's a simple question. Yes or no?
I already told her.
Did you
No,
provide any?
there
No,
was nothing
no,
attached
quiet,
to it.
quiet. Did you or did you not provide any documents when you sent those responses in?
No, she knows that. I already
Then
said
just say
that.
no, Mr.
I
Bernadette.
did. I said that.
She clicked on a paper at that point that showed social security numbers, and he cut the stream immediately. Now I cut it off like seconds before she clicked it. I got everything I could before he cut the stream, and he's yelling at her as he's cutting the stream. You can't show that. But I have to get back. So that's what we got. But there's more. There's just a little bit more. Let's go back to the right. Oh, I got the right browser. Okay. So back to this case for this contested divorce. So here was what we just saw from yesterday. So they did not get through everything. All right. Court schedule is continuous, so it's continued to April 22nd at 9 a.m. So he has a chance to provide rebuttal exhibits by April 15th. He's not going to. He may mail his exhibits to the court if he has any. He doesn't. And then Murray can also provide any additional questions. But yeah, that judge was quick. That social security number came up on that screen, and he just shut everything down. He just shut the stream completely down, and he did not start it back up again. I don't want to go too far up because there's yeah, okay. So that's all we have until April 22nd. I'm sure I can get this stream on April 22nd if he streams it, which I think he will because he's streamed the other ones. So we'll just have to sit tight and wait until then. Whew. We made it through a long one. And I skipped a part, and it was a great part. I don't know how I missed it, but it was the very beginning when she first started asking him questions, and the judge just yelled at him over and over again. Maybe I'll add that as a bonus when we get more on March 20. I mean April 22nd. I know what day it is. I know what day it is. Well, guys, thank you so much for putting up with me today. I, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed that password, Ginger, or whatever, 7689. Oh my gosh, when he said that, I was laughing so hard. And when he wanted to run for president, that made me laugh even more. Against, Trump and Biden. He's gonna run for president, and he ran for president of his town. I didn't even know there was a president of towns. I'm 100% sure in the town that I live, there is no president. Because I think I would have heard about him. But Kelly is president of the chat right now because she provides the most words and useful information. Cloud, I'm so happy you made it today. Guys, thank you so much for coming out. I really, really, really appreciate it. Even way over there in Australia, we love ya. We love ya. I wish we could hear your accent, though. I love accents. I bet, I bet Carolyn thinks we all have accents. Bet she does. All right, guys. I will see you next time. Courts opened 1 minute ago, so now I'm late. Now I'm late for work. A president of a parish? Maybe. Maybe. Thank you, sweetness. I appreciate it. All right. I gotta start some recording going on. So I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day, guys. See ya.